The flight was routine, or at least it seemed that way. Passengers shuffled down the aisle, balancing bags and coffees, hunting for their seats. Most were tired. Some were impatient. But in row 12, near the window, sat a woman who carried herself with a quiet gravity. She wore no uniform, no rank stitched across her chest, just jeans and a worn jacket. To the others, she was invisible, just another traveler. But when the captain announced over the intercom that they were sharing the airspace with two F-22 Raptors escorting their path, her hands tightened around the armrest. Because for her, the word escort meant something more. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. She had once flown beside men and women who lived and breathed inside those fighter jets. She had once carried a call sign that made radios go quiet, not out of fear, but out of respect. Yet no one on this flight knew. Not the businessman beside her tapping his laptop, not the mother rocking her child 2 rows ahead. They saw a woman in seat 12F. Nothing more. The announcement of the Raptors caused a stir. Faces pressed against windows. Passengers murmured about how cool it was. But she kept her gaze steady, her heart caught between pride and ache. For years she had avoided moments like this, telling herself her service was over. That chapter closed. Yet here, at 32,000 feet, the past had a way of finding her again. She thought she had left that world behind. She was wrong. When turbulence rippled through the cabin, the pilot reassured the passengers. But what followed was no ordinary bump of air. A sharp descent, a sudden jolt, and the sound of gasps filled the cabin. Drinks spilled. Voices rose. The captain's calm voice cut through. "Ladies and gentlemen, we've had a minor technical issue. Please remain seated." Her chest tightened. She heard something others couldn't, the subtle pitch of the engines faltering. She knew the signs. And then, through the small oval window, she caught sight of them. Two F-22 Raptors slicing through the sky, steady, precise, circling closer as if guarding the fragile bird she was riding in. Her mind raced. She had been one of them once, their sister in the skies. And in that instant, she whispered her old call sign, a name she hadn't spoken in years. It was instinct, a prayer, a memory. Yet the businessman beside her heard. "What did you say?" he asked. She didn't answer. She was too busy watching the Raptors shift into tighter formation. The cabin hushed. A flight attendant passed, pale but trying to smile. Fear had its grip on everyone. And then, impossibly, the captain's voice returned, tinged with awe. "Ladies and gentlemen, the Raptors have just acknowledged a passenger on board. Seat 12F. Every head turned. The woman froze. Heat rushed to her cheeks. She wanted to vanish. But then she saw them. Through the glass, two Raptors tilting their wings in unison, a gesture of salute. They knew her. They remembered. The cabin filled with murmurs, then silence, as the weight of it sank in. She had once been a guardian of the skies, known by a call sign whispered with reverence. And now, at 32,000 feet, those still flying honored her presence. Slowly, shakily, she pressed her hand against the window. The Raptors dipped again, sharper this time, unmistakable. Respect. Gratitude. Some passengers began to clap softly. Unsure. Others followed until the sound filled the cabin. Not the wild applause of entertainment, but something deeper, reverent, almost sacred. And as tears blurred her vision, she realized something she had long denied. Her service, her sacrifices were not forgotten, because kindness doesn't vanish. It waits, and it finds its way back. She had boarded as a nameless woman in seat 12F. She left the flight as someone seen, remembered, saluted. And somewhere in the roar of engines and the hush of passengers, she found the part of herself she thought was gone. If stories like this move you, share your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe for more. Your voice, just like hers, deserves to be heard.